Good morning. Hello, hello. How is everyone? It is day 4. How exciting. We've got to day 4. Day 4, and it's been 3 days of you learning some new information. Maybe some of it you've heard it before, but you're hearing it in a different way. And I am just really grateful and appreciative to the feedback that I've had. We've got the weight loss group chat, and some of the women have been chatting in there, which has been really great. I've also had some DMs, which I love as well, because I do understand that for some people, talking about this stuff, it really brings up a lot for you, and I totally get it. I want women to know that I have gone through a lot of this stuff myself, which got me, or it's one of the reasons that got me into studying nutrition and then flowing on to study different modalities in mindset and nervous system and root cause therapy and trauma and stuff like that, because I was trying to understand myself. And when I was first doing this, none of this information was really out there. And I feel like now there is a lot more information. If anything, there's too much information and it's confusing, which is some of the comments that have been coming up, is just how confusing it is, and how we can easily get lost in all the online information and knowing what's right for us. So I want to really explain a lot of that tomorrow and answer a lot of those questions tomorrow. But today, let's get started in the challenge, and let me cover the next pillar of weight loss. Would love to hear how you went with your homework and the things that you're working on yesterday, especially the pause before eating. And maybe you didn't learn about it until late yesterday. Maybe you watched the replay. So please look at doing that today. And I'd love to hear how you go with it. I really would. All right. Day 4, we are talking about cravings, stress, and sleep. I'd love to hear in the chat if you tried the 2-minute reset yesterday, and if you got a copy of the YouTube video I recorded just for you ladies that you can keep and practice on for the next couple of weeks until you've got it really nailed for yourself. Some of the questions I got asked was that they loved the 2-minute reset and would like to use it for other things. Absolutely. You can use it for any type of stress, overwhelm, if you're feeling anxiety, anything like that. So definitely use it and see what you notice. If you give me some feedback on that, I'd love to help you. What we're really wanting to do is be able to master what's going on the inside. We spend all day focusing on the outside, focusing on other people, focusing on work and family and partners and finances and all the things that create that stress. But we have control of ourselves and what's going on the inside. So let's work on how we can master that, because we can't control the outside world, but we can control how we show up in it and how we respond to it. I say to my clients, that's the thing I love the best about all the work that I teach and everything that I coach and everything I stand for. We are taking back responsibility for us, for ourselves. We are mastering ourselves. We're being our own health guru. Yes, there's information out there. Yes, there's things to try and work out, but we're also unique and different. When we understand ourselves on a deeper level, we get to really feel like we're taking back control. Yeah. Did you know that just one night of poor sleep can actually increase your cravings for sugar and carbs by up to 45%? Yes. If you haven't got enough sleep, and this is a big one I hear from women who are not sleeping well, you will wake up and throughout the day notice that you are experiencing more hunger and your cravings for sugar and carbs are increasing by up to 45%. When you're tired, your brain is so desperate for energy. It's so desperate for fuel. And the fastest source of energy that it has been taught and it knows is sugar. So if you're struggling with cravings during the day, The first place to look into is not having willpower over the cravings, it's actually your sleep. And it's one of the first things I do with clients. We work on a couple of things at the start of working together. One of the things we do is like really get into a sleep routine. So I'm going to show you how we do that. But I want you to understand the importance of it. Yesterday I was talking about how I used to wake up in the morning and be racing around, and I would totally ruin my nervous system and be racing around in the morning, yelling at the kids and trying to get them out the door to get them to school. And it would be so frantic and rush and just real everyone hyped up and activated, nervous system very activated. The reason why that happened is, and it may or may not be the same, but I hear this a lot, is there's this pattern that's created over time where once everyone's in bed or once the kitchen's clean, like you've done the dinner, everything, your lunches are organized, the kitchen's clean, you sit down and plonk down on the couch, and it's the first time in your day you get an opportunity to relax. It's the first time in the day you get to unwind. And so when you're looking at the clock thinking, what's a good time to go to sleep? What generally happens is women will push this out further and further until we get into the routine of staying up late. Not everybody, some people, but this is actually really common where you're not actually getting enough sleep, the amount of sleep that you need. And so what you're doing is you're waking up in the morning sleep deprived, or maybe it's quality sleep. I know when we go through a hormone shifts or when we're making changes or when our body's not great, it's not super healthy, we can find ourselves waking up during the night. So maybe you're going to bed at 8 o'clock, but you're still waking up throughout the night or waking up to go to the toilet, and it's really interrupting and impacting you. What you may not realize is when you don't sleep well, your cortisol levels are spiking the next day. And this is the kicker part of it. The cortisol specifically tells your body to store fat around the belly area. Okay. There's reasons why this happens. When you're sleep deprived, your body thinks you're in a state of emergency. It thinks something's not right, where we didn't get enough rest. We've got to stay hyper vigilant. So it releases more cortisol to keep you alert and functioning. And I don't know about you, but for me, if I wake up and I don't have a lot of energy, I try to create that within myself. I'm like, come on, Melissa, let's go, come on. And what happens is I'm telling my body to generate that. So the cortisol is released, but also the cortisol signals our body to hold on to fat, especially around our midsection, because that's where our vital organs are stored. And our body is literally trying to protect you. So much of this behavior that's happening with our body, it's trying to protect us. But it's also trying to make the changes and compensate on the protection mode with hormonal changes as well. You can be eating really well, you can be exercising, you can be doing everything you feel is right. But if you're not sleeping, your cortisol levels are elevated and your body is physically incapable of releasing that belly fat. My point is, even if when we think we're doing the right thing, our body, it's trying to make us safe. And so it's doing the opposite of what we're trying to achieve. We're doing all the right things and we don't realize that it might not be what suits us in particular. We're also unique and so different. What is generally happening for a lot of people and a lot of women is they're not getting enough sleep, or they're not sleeping through the night, or the quality of sleep is not there. When we've got these cortisol levels peaking through the day, it's very hard for our body to release the weight, and especially around the belly. The other thing that makes this whole thing tricky is high cortisol also disrupts our sleep. Yeah. So you end up in this vicious cycle of poor sleep equals high cortisol equals belly fat storage equals disrupted sleep, and then even higher cortisol. It's really frustrating, and it's probably what you've started to notice if you're not already experiencing it. And this is one of the reasons why I say to my clients, if you are trying to lose a lot of weight or if you're trying to lose belly weight, we've got to prioritize sleep. It's actually not an option. It's more like a foundation for our health. And the good news is when you start sleeping better, your cortisol levels naturally come down and your body finally starts to feel really safe. Safe to release that fat. If you're wondering how much sleep to have, please send me any questions. I'm happy to help you with some other things. We really want to be not dropping under 7 hours of sleep a night, and aiming up a lot higher than that, 8 at least, is really great. Okay. It really does depend on where you're at in your health and your age and your hormone cycle as well, and what your goals are. Here's some statistics to try and really get you thinking about sleep and taking it as seriously as I do, okay? And it might actually shock you, and I'm not going to lie, I wanted to, because I feel like a lot of women don't realize just how much poor sleep is actually sabotaging your weight loss. Here's what's actually happening. Your cortisol levels increase by 37%. Your cravings for sugar and carbs increase by 45%. Your insulin sensitivity is going to drop by about 30%, which means your body can't process any of the sugar that your body has properly, okay? Your hunger hormone, the ghrelin hormone, increases by 28%. Your fullness hormone, leptin, decreases by 18%. Your body burns 20% fewer calories when you're resting. So let me say that again. After just one night of poor sleep, your body is craving food, feeling less full, and actually burning fewer calories. So whatever you're trying to do for weight loss, you're literally fighting against your own biology. I want you to imagine what happens when you're chronically sleep deprived, when it's not just one bad night of sleep, but maybe you've been sleeping poorly for weeks or months or even years. And chronic poor sleep, it leads to that persistent, continuous elevated cortisol, which is that constant belly fat. Insulin resistance becomes a problem. We don't want to be facing pre-diabetes or weight gain that's even more harder to get rid of, or PCOS or increased inflammation. That's one of the things I hear a lot. Just regular daily joint pain, brain fog, bloating. We start to really notice that mood swings and hot flashes. It's hard because maybe it's our hormones that are keeping us awake. But one of the things that's really important to me when it comes to sleep is not so much the weight focus for me, but it's my immune system. Because for me, I'm very proud. I haven't gone to the doctors for an illness or for sickness in, I think it's about 7 or 8 years. I've not got sick. If I get sick, it's generally that I'm run down because I didn't look after myself, and I have my own little protocol and rest, and I can wake up the next day and I feel pretty good. I don't need to go to the doctors. I haven't been on antibiotics for probably 13, 15 years. Because to me, I know the importance of my immune system. I've got two parents, one's passed, that have been quite unhealthy as in their older years, and have been a constant reminder to me, I don't want that. And the other thing is, it accelerates our aging. It makes us age faster. You know, when you look at women and you go and you find out their age and you're like, wow, you look really great. What do you do? And they're like, not much. And most women will say, what cream do you use? Or something like that. We forget to think about sunlight, water, and sleep is the foundations of health. But nobody makes it important. You probably blaming yourself for your weight, blaming yourself for your cravings, for your lack of discipline, when the problem is that you're just not sleeping well. It's very hard to have some sort of healthy discipline or structure or keeping this important and focused when you're exhausted. When you're exhausted, your body goes into survival mode. It's holding onto every bit of food you're eating because it thinks it's in danger. And this is why sleep, I think, and quality sleep, most importantly, is non-negotiable. And I make it non-negotiable with my clients that I work with. Before we're even talking about what to eat, we're just working on sleep. It's a game changer. I want you to look at the key to better sleep, and that is having an evening ritual. Signaling to your body that it's time to wind down. For a lot of women, they'll go from the TV or interacting with people and stuff that's quite stimulating and then try to hop into bed and go to sleep. And maybe you start a evening routine and you don't see results straight away. Don't give up. Keep going. It's very empowering and supportive to the body when it starts to feel safe and it starts to understand, oh, okay, we've got a bit of a pattern here. Because consistency is the winner. It's not about us doing more when it comes to an evening routine either. Please don't think that some beautiful evening ritual means that you've got to do more. It doesn't. This is nourishing. This is self-love, okay? It's about creating a simple, repeatable sequence of events that tells your nervous system it's safe for us to shift into healing mode. And it can be as simple as not having your phone in front of you or the TV in front of you for a while before you go to bed. It could be that warm bath. It could be doing a bit of journaling. It could be sitting out the back, reading, petting your dog, having a nice herbal tea. These things is signaling and telling your body, hey, we're not doing what we normally do. We're actually going to do a wind down routine. Your stress bucket overflows, and what happens is I want you to imagine that you have your own stress bucket. Think about your stress bucket. I want you to think about the day and all the things that happen in your day, and they're little drops of stress. They're little drops of stress. I didn't put a partner on there, so those of you who have a partner might find something to add in there. So throughout the day, little drops of stress start to fill up your bucket. And when your bucket is full, it overflows. And for many of us, that overflows looks like the habits that we have at nighttime. Okay? And the habits at nighttime can be like emotional eating, that bottle of wine, the block of chocolate, watching TV, staying up late, not looking after yourself in the way that you really want to and need to, but just really find it hard. What is really important to understand is the key isn't to get rid of stress. It's actually impossible to get rid of stress throughout the day. The key is to poke holes in your bucket throughout the day so it doesn't overflow. And what I find is, from working with women for 10 years, when they have their bucket overflowing, everything comes crashing down. It starts projecting onto partners, it starts projecting onto kids, it starts projecting into the workplace, and then it comes within, right? And then we start to project that onto ourselves. We want to be looking at how are our stress levels throughout the day and how can we manage them in a way where we're supporting ourselves. Because the most important thing is looking at how am I feeling on a day-to-day basis and how do I feel throughout the day? This can make a really big difference instead of going through your day worrying and allowing this stuff to accumulate. It gets really overwhelming. I want you to think about your stress bucket and how that looks for you through the day. What are the things that are dropping into your stress bucket throughout the day? And do you get to the end of the day and your bucket is overflowing? I am adding this on because the women in the chat asked some questions and I said to them, would you like me to answer it today? So it's a little bit different than what we're talking about today. But it also isn't. The question that was asked in the weight loss group chat was, it's very confusing because experts say conflicting things. One expert says, don't intermittent fast because it raises your cortisol. And another expert says you should be intermittent fasting because it will decrease the inflammation in your body. That's where we hear lots of different things like eat breakfast with an hour of waking, and other people that say skip breakfast and fast until noon. And we're also hearing comments about carbs are the enemy. What I'm hearing from you is the question of what am I supposed to do? And I get it, I do see it all the time. And it's generally why women decide to go and see a health professional or go and see a qualified coach. Because if you get personalized help, you can look into what you need uniquely, because the answer to this is they're both right and they're both wrong, because it depends on you, right? I did my intermittent fasting all through my 30s and it worked a treat. I was a really good weight. I had really good body composition. I had really good energy levels. I used to do boot camp like 5 times a week minimum on top of other stuff until it didn't work for me. Until I started to notice some changes in my hormones, which I thought was, oh, this is perimenopause. But it was a symptom. I think a lot of women in 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s think that what they did in their 20s and 30s is okay to still be doing. And for some of you, it might be. Or you haven't connected the dots of other health issues or other things you're experiencing, other symptoms, to what you're still doing. That's fine, right? We're all on our own journey. The thing is, intermittent fasting does raise cortisol for some women, especially women who are already stressed or not sleeping well or perimenopausal. But intermittent fasting can also decrease inflammation for other women, which it did for me when I was in my 30s, but it didn't. It did the reverse for me in my 40s. So women who have insulin resistance who are eating really late at night may find that intermittent fasting works for them. So how do you know which one works good for you? Please don't figure this out from social media posts, okay? And know that you need to, and even from a podcast, one of my clients was saying, I listened to this on a podcast, and I was like, okay, but let's work out what's best for you instead of what was told in a podcast or on a reel on Instagram. Because what the experts that are on there are explaining is a generalized thing, and that's what I'm really trying to share with you, is that they don't know your cortisol levels, they don't know your sleep quality, they don't know your stress levels, they don't know your hormone status, they don't know your blood sugar patterns, they don't know your lifestyle, they don't know your history with food, they don't know your trauma, they don't know your wounding, they don't know your nervous system state. They're giving general advice, but what you need to answer this and know what's right for you is actually personalized advice, okay? And this is why a lot of women do stay stuck, because they're trying to implement strategies that work for someone else's body, not their own. Like, it's very easy for women to say, I did this and this worked. And there are so many women out there that are health professionals and coaches, and they're saying, do it my way. Do it this way. This is what worked for me. This is what you're going to do. Okay? And I get it, because they saw amazing results. They show you the before and after. But here's the thing. When you go and follow their system that worked for their body, what happens if it doesn't work for you? You think it's something wrong with you, but it's not. We are so different. We're all so different. And we need to look at specific situations, specific bodies, and ask ourselves some really important questions like stress levels, sleep, hormonal status. I said to my clients, to me, you're like a kid's box. Puzzle box, you get the box. There's all the puzzles in the pieces in there. I open the box. Obviously I know what a healthy body and weight loss looks like, but I need to look at your unique pieces of your puzzle, of your body, of your gut, okay? And that's why I don't do one set method, because we're all so different. When we have a better understanding and then we can see what is happening in the body, then we can decide, should we be intermittent or should you be intermittent fasting? Or would that make your cortisol levels raise and make things worse? Should you be eating breakfast or skipping it to stabilize your blood sugar? Or maybe eating breakfast later? Should you be eating carbs? Would they help you reduce fat or give you more energy? That can depend on your hormones, that can depend on your sleep, and it can depend on whether you're exercising. It's important to know how your body responds, because your body is the ultimate authority, not the internet, not the experts. Your body knows you best. And most women, we like, tell me what education qualifications you have to figure this out on your own. And I'm not saying that as a criticism, just like an awareness. Here's the way I coach clients. We don't follow a one size fits all plan. We create a plan that's designed for your unique body, your hormones, your lifestyle, your nervous system. That's why my clients, I think, get the best results. But what they also get is an understanding of their own body. We're not guessing. We're not following what suited the coach or the health practitioner. We're personalizing and adjusting. So if you feel confused and overwhelmed by all the conflicting information out there, I get it. I totally get it. But that's the system. That's the diet culture that's out there. And finding someone in your corner to help you and support you. And I really hope this week is a big component of that, so you can figure out your unique body. Okay. We have an evening ritual that we're going to be working on tonight. And we've got a sleep audit. I would love you to do your sleep audit. I think it'll be really helpful doing your sleep audit and being able to see what it is that's actually happening for you at night. Okay. Let's make a new evening ritual. And I want to hear how you go with it. So please don't forget, in the chat or below the Facebook Live, or if you want, send me a DM. I don't mind. And as I said yesterday, I've had quite a few women messaging me and they want to book a call with me. They want to speak about what's actually happening uniquely for them. And look, I'm absolutely happy to offer this. It's not a sales call. It'll be a 30-minute breakthrough call. And I'm really good at spotting your blind spots. What are the things that you don't realize? I ask the questions and I catch it. The things that you've been trying to work out for ages. Or if you feel like you would like to inquire about getting more personalized results, things that are specific to you, happy to help with that as well. I'm really excited. We only have one more day left. I'm going to be more present in the chat group today, hopefully answer any questions that you have and help you with anything else. Otherwise, have a fantastic Thursday. Don't forget that by increasing your sleep and working on your stress levels, you are going to get some amazing results. This is one of the most impactful things that you can do for yourself. Yeah, I really hope that you're getting as much out of it as I am. I'm really enjoying doing this with you. Take care.